All right, so now, today I'm going to show you how to make these 3D shapes here. I'll show you how to make the box. So first, I click on a plane that I would like to make the box. Then I click and drag. I will go ahead and enter 50 in, and you'll notice a little lock pops up. Can't really put my mouse on it, but if I, let's see here, if I make that 50, there, oh come on. I guess it won't let me put my mouse on it. But that means that it has both of those dimensions like locked in. The only place it doesn't know, or the only thing it doesn't know is, you know, what place I would like it to be in. I'm just going to keep it in this quadrant for now. And now I need to give it a height, and sure, why not? I'll make it 50 as well. I'll make a nice square. And you'll see a little box icon is now popped up in my history ribbon. If I double click on it, it'll give me the length, width, and height, and I can actually edit those after I've already made it. So I don't know, maybe I want this to be 30 instead. Ta-da! So easy way to make the rectangle or cube or rectangular prism. Another way to do that, the more involved way to do that, is, let me rotate my view so you can see, I'm starting a sketch on my plane down here. I could either use my 2-point rectangle, or if I really want to be involved, I'll use my line tool. Okay, so I've made a profile here. If I go here, I'll hit finish sketch, why not? Let me hide my origin so it's not always there. You can hide that with the eyeball. And okay, so going into my extrude, if I pull it up, I can also enter in, let's see, 30 here. So go ahead and hit OK. And now I've got my cube. Not too bad. Excuse me. So two ways of doing that. We've covered the box. Now let's go on to the cylinder. I will go ahead and delete those. Go into the cylinder tool. I'll select my plane that I want to draw it on, and I'll go ahead and enter in, 50. And again, I'll make it 50 by 50. Keep it easy. And now, ta-da, I have a cylinder. Pretty easy, not too bad. Let me show you how to do that without the automatic cylinder tool. If I draw on a different plane this time I'll use my 2-point rectangle. And I'm going to use my sketch dimension tool here. And I can also press D on my keyboard. So I've deselected my sketch dimension. I press D, and ta-da! Now I'm in my sketch dimension tool. So what was the dimensions of this? This was 50 by 50. Well, I don't want to do the math for that, so I'm just going to do 50 divided by 2, and I'm going to get 25. So now I've got the cylinder profile that I want. Now I'm going to hit finish sketch, and I'm going to revolve. It's going to automatically select my profile since there's only one profile to select. I'm going to select the axis that I want. Now I've got my cylinder tool again. Or, well, cylinder again. Oops. So now, alright, so we did box and cylinder. Let's go to sphere. Let me reset my view. I'll select my origin, and boom, it already makes it. I just need to enter in 50. It's going to think for a little bit. There we go. So now I've got a 50 millimeter diameter sphere. Pretty easy. And now if I want to make one myself, use my circle tool, 50, and this time I'll make a construction line here in my sketch palette. I've got my construction option, and I'm just going to go from the center here all the way up to the top. Just one line, that's all I need. And I'll hit finish sketch. And if I go to my Revolve tool again, it automatically selects the profile. And then for my axis, I'm going to select, I'm going to hide the origin. Oh, I guess it won't hide the origin. Oh, there we go. And I go ahead and select that line here. One side doesn't like that, so I'm going to do, instead of 360, I'm going to do 180. That still doesn't like that. Maybe I need to do symmetric and do 90 instead. No, still not liking it. If I do one side, will it do that? Okay, well, looks like I need to slightly adjust my sketch. That's all right. It's pretty easy to do. I'll make one more line going from the center down, but this time I'm actually going to change my construction into a full line. And I could trim this if I wanted to. I could just drag my cursor over there, but I'm just going to keep it for now, just so that I can show you. Now it's not automatically selecting the profile that I want to revolve. So let's see here, my profile, I'll select here, and then my axis, I will select the center line here. There we go. So now it's behaving more like what I was expecting. And you can, with this, you have a little bit more control, which is nice. Let me, instead of one sides, two sides, now I can kind of make it look like a Pac-Man. And I can do symmetric. Now it really looks like a Pac-Man. I think, oh, and also, well, I can't really do that for this, but if I do two, normally I'd want to have like another sketch with pre-made angles that I could at least snap onto. But full is nice. Full is just whoop, just one big loop. So now I've got my sphere again. I personally like making these by hand just because you can get a little bit more precision. Like if I didn't want an exact sphere, if I wanted that Pac-Man shape I was talking about, I have the option to do that. But, if it doesn't matter, if I, just need a sphere, then this is a quicker option to do that. Okay, let me delete what I have. And now I'm going to go into my Torus tool. Let me adjust my view again. So now this time, do the 50 millimeter again, and this time I'll do, I think if I do 50 for the torus diameter, it might get mad at me. It'll be really big. Yeah, it's a donut that perfectly meets up right in the center there. So for this, I'll probably keep it, I don't know. I'll do, just to keep the 50 trend, I'll do 50 divided by 2. Because you can do math in the dimension, dimension entries here. And now if I wanted to make this by hand, let me go ahead and delete this. And this time, this is a little bit more involved. So if you wanted your torus, let's see here, let me adjust my view. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I accidentally clicked on my front view, and now it's trying to create a sketch there, which is not what I want. So I'm going to delete that. Okay, now I am going to make my circle, and I'll do 50. Now I'm going to hit finish sketch. I'm going to create a new sketch, and this time I'm going to sketch on a different plane. I could either do this plane or this plane. I'll just pick this plane for now. And now I'm gonna have to do a little bit, something that I haven't talked about yet. If I do project include, go to project, and I click on this, it's actually going to create so go ahead and hit OK. It's going to create the projection of what this appears, what this circle appears to this front plane as. So if I rotate my view, now you see you've got your endpoints, you got your midpoint, you got your line going through. So if I was only looking at it from a one-dimensional standpoint, this is all that I would see. So the reason why I wanted this is now I have a endpoint to draw my circle on, and I will do 50 divided by 2 again. A little bit more in depth from the other methods that we were doing, but now if I do Revolve, my Revolve tool, it's also right here. Oh, sorry, the way that I've done this is a little slightly more complicated than it needs to be. If I do sweep, I can select my profile, I can select my path, and now, ta-da, we've got a nice torus. I went a little bit too in depth with this. A much easier option would have been, let me delete everything. Not sure why I didn't think of this in the moment, but believe it or not, I'm not perfect all the time. Only most of the time. If I create my circle here, I'm just creating this line just so that I can have it fully constrained. Technically you don't need to do this, but I'm going to again do 50 divided by 2 and 50. So now everything's nice and fully constrained. You get the little lock on your sketch there, that means it's fully constrained. I'm going to hit finish sketch, and I'm going to go to my Revolve tool. It's got the profile automatically selected, and sure, I'll just select this axis here, and ta-da, we've got our origin. And I'm only now realizing that my sketch is slightly wrong. I need to do 50 divided by 2. There, so that's more aligned with what we were seeing. Okay, now I need to wrap up this video fairly shortly here, so we are almost done. Let's see, I can finish this in the next 5 minutes. Let's see. So this coil, kind of cool. The coil we can't really make, unfortunately, without just using this coil tool. For whatever reason, Fusion, at this point in time, doesn't allow you to sketch a helix. You have to use the create to make a 3D coil. So maybe they'll change that in future updates, but as of right now, this is the only way to get a helical shape. So I'll go ahead and do 50, and now, ta-da, we've got our coil. It springs up from nothing. And the height you can manually change. You can change how many revolutions you want. So I'll do 50 by 50. Just to show you, I can do, oops, sorry, meant to do 100 there. So it's going to keep the number of revolutions that I want because I've got 3 here. If I do, you can do slightly more complex mathematical equations too. You can do, parentheses, I don't know, 2 times 3 plus 1 if you wanted that for whatever reason. Now you've got a really coiled spring. You can do 2 squared, which is 4, all sorts of stuff. So you can change your selection to be square if you wanted a square spring. You can do triangular. You can change it to be on the outside or on the inside of the circle that you've made. So here's the inside, here's the outside. So a couple different options here. And let's see, the height, you can adjust the angle as well. So if I do this to be 90, oh, didn't like that. Let me do 1, sorry. So now I am slightly adjusting the, let me try 10 instead. So now you're adjusting the coil angle here. Let's see, selection size, section size. Okay, that's all I want to get into for the coil. I want to get into the pipe in the 2 remaining minutes that I have. So I will, dang it, didn't mean to do that. I will create a sketch. Let me adjust my view again. And I will select on a different plane. I'm going to go ahead and use my spline tool. And I'm going to make a slightly crazy spline design. I'm going to go ahead and click the check when I'm done. So now I've got this weird shape here. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. I'm going to make a new sketch, this time on a plane that is perpendicular to the starting point. I'm going to use 50 because I'm on a 50 pattern for whatever reason. And dang it, didn't mean to do revolve. I'm going to go to create, I'm going to go down to pipe, I'm going to go ahead and select my pipe here. Oh, dang it. Oh, I guess I didn't need this after all. I was thinking of my I was thinking of the sweep tool, not the pipe tool. Okay, so I've got this. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and ta-da, now I have a pipe. Pretty easy. Selection circular, I can do square, I can do triangular. I can also click hollow if I want. So now I have a regular hollow pipe. And I can adjust the distance. The distance is a ratio, so if I do 0.5, it will go through half. I want it to be 1. Section thickness, I'll also do 1. So, different stuff you can do. Triangular's kind of a weird pipe. Not sure how you'd make that in real life, but yeah, all right. So those are the create tool options here. You could also make this using the sweep tool. It would just be a slightly more involved process. I believe that is all that I have for now. So thanks for tuning in. Bye.